Hello everyone, and welcome to Lockdown See the World. Today we talk about American diplomatic thinking and how American leaders and foreign policymakers perceive America itself and the world today. US President Biden has set off its re-election campaign on April 16, 2024 at his hometown, Scranton, Pennsylvania. He said, if the United States wasn't to lead the world, who could step up to do it? What other country? Which reminded us a script in the movie of the Gang of X, Who Else? During the 3 days of a 6 days Munich Security Conference, February 16th to 18th, 2024, as to the issue of Sino-US relations and American foreign policy, the US State Secretary Secretary Blinken impressed the world with his remarks by saying, if you are not at the table in the international system, you are gonna be on the menu, which was interpreted similar as the saying, to be a sword or be a fish, prosper if submit me, and perish if oppose. On February 25th this year, US Ambassador Nicholas Burns took interview of CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. He said, the relations with China is the most important, most competitive, and most dangerous the US has in the world, which will be true for the future 10 years. I think ultimately they want to become and overtake the United States as the dominant country globally. And we don't want that to happen, and we don't want to live in a world where the Chinese are the dominant country. It was understood that only America is qualified leader of the world, and if China wishes to take it, which is unacceptable. From the opinions above, we can read the mind of Americans. The impact of China is rising as our big power to America, and the response of Washington and the future of Sino-US relations. Apparently, President Biden was confident when he talked about US leadership. If the United States wasn't to lead the world, who could step up to do it? What other country? According to Biden, this world is in disorder and needs our leader. America is the only one country that qualified to do it, no one else. During the Second World War, Germany and Japan were defeated, and the former Soviet Union was a formidable, big rival to America, yet it collapsed finally. Strictly speaking, the world leader should be the UN Security Council with its 5 members, the United States, United Kingdom, France, Russia, and China, and all have the privilege of veto. During the First World War and before the Second World War, America was just one of the Western powers. Since the end of the Second World War to right now, it has been almost 80 years with America as the international police and hegemon. The interest is something hard to share, and to any challenges to US global dominance is regarded as a threat. For maintaining its interests, America will take any means and resources. The Great Britain had been an empire with the sun never set since it defeated the Spanish Armada in 1588. It had enjoyed dominance on the sea until the end of the Second World War, with its power faded, and had to yield the privilege to America. France conquered the whole Europe in Napoleon's time and almost finished the unification of Europe, like China's first emperor Qin Shi Huang did in history. Yet since then, France had never enjoyed the glory as before. It's a failed and defeat with Germany's rising and challenge. Russia is still a big power, and especially military, yet it is not so strong as the former Soviet Union. In the Russo-Ukraine war, it performed not so outstanding as expected. It actually encounters America and the NATO. China's rapid economic development is a unique experience and influences constitute a formidable pressure to America that in decline and domestic issue. In history, China has been a big power in the east, center of Confucianism. Middle Kingdom and Empire received tribute from countries around. All the land under the sun belongs to the king, and all the people to the far are king's subject. China has been revered as a heavenly kingdom or natural leader, a suzerain of many vassals. In China's view, at that time, Europe and America was just other uncivilized savages in the West. With recent industrial revolution and flourish and emergence of the Western democratic politics, China lagged behind almost for a century. With the mercy of heaven, China has been reborn as a global big power with leverage to the world in politics, economy, military, and culture, and a more formidable challenge to America than the former Soviet Union. It's very possible that someday China overtakes America as the largest economy in the world. Mandarin Qing dynasty of China before the Opium War has taken 30% of the global GDP by export of tea, porcelain, and silk. Yet it is still failed in the coming war, resulting in territory receding and indemnity. If we say China will one day replace America as the world dominant country, it is infeasible in the coming decades. For China is not so strong enough yet, nor with a strategy for it. It is still a tough issue that China, being equally treated as a partner, China insists that relations among nations should be based upon the Charter of the United Nations and guided by international law, and equal and reciprocal. Meanwhile, American logic is that its interests is surely about that of the world. It is no doubt that America is the world's hegemon and the leader. As the U.S. State Secretary Blinken said, if you are not at the table, you're gonna be on the menu. And he also mentioned this before, which is an American slang that means that if you do not work for your own interests at the negotiation, then your interest will be bargained by others. In Chinese interpretation, it means that if you are not a predator, you will be praised as a food in the meal. A phrase by Blinken reminds people of the power politics of realism in international relations theory, as a human society is the same as nature, ruled by jungle law among the strong and the weak, survival of the fittest. If you are not the winner of life, you might be the victim in the food chains. If you are not strong enough in the world, your cheese might be moved and shared, and you are overlooked. The Blinken talked about this when the interviewer asked him as to the intensified Sino-US competition, and each of them was seeking for allies and supporters. The big issue of choice. The intention of Blinken was specific, naked threatening, telling other countries that, behold everyone, that stand together with America or you will be the enemy, that the wrong choice will make you in trouble. Actually, Bush administration also did that after 9/11. The President Bush said, for any nation, be with us or for us as a friend against terrorism, or against us as terrorism supporter. Make a choice and no other alternative. U.S. Ambassador to China, Burns said, relations with China is the most important, the most competitive, and the most dangerous to America. It will be the same for the coming decade. America and China are the largest economies in the world. China is the third, the largest trade partner to America, which is closely related with 750,000 U.S. job positions. Both sides suffer if fight each other, and win-win if work together. The two countries are different in historical culture and political system. In considering and dealing with the issues, America is the current hegemon, China as a rising power. It is inevitable for them differ in interest allocation and clashes. The rivalry between the two big powers for dominance, even war, happens. which has been regarded as a Thucydides trap. China and America are both military giants with nuclear weapons, competitive military powers, and high tech. America has many military bases globally, and China's Navy and Air Forces have developed rapidly and have more depth of spaces to maneuver. America will not give up the Taiwan card easily, and China will never abandon its effort to take it back. One, street crisis is always the challenge and a crucible for Sino-US relations. America doesn't hope it's being overtaken by China, neither live in a world that the Chinese are dominant forces. Then it is also a paradox. The development of nations first and whether it is surpassed by others do not depend on wish only, but also on many factors such as market economy, global trade, creativeness, entrepreneurship, devotion, and national unity. The river of history flows. A nation should hold its own future prosperity and avoid domestic strife. Based on Burns, America doesn't hope China will be dominant in the world. On the contrary, is it true that China doesn't hope America is the dominant force either? There are almost 200 countries in the world. Why can't they respect each other and treat mutually equal? Avoid vying for supremacy. Domestically, Americans are inclined to believe that all men are created equal. Yet, internationally, they seldom mention equality and more on dominance and rule. They imagine in a few decades, if China really takes the leading position, then what will America do? To accept it willingly, or work harder to take it back peacefully, or take the risk and wrestle with China harsh and tough, with third-party profits from it? Sure, this is just about if. And we believe the leaders of the two countries will properly control their disagreement and disputes. President Biden raised a good question. Except America, who else can step up to lead the world? How do you think about it? Here comes the end of today's program, and thank you for your watching, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye.